Hello guys, what is going on? I am back. Jesus Christ, it's been a while, I know, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna beat around the bush here, but yeah, it's been a long time. 2020 has not claimed me yet, so don't worry about that. It's been a while since I've uploaded a review and just a talking video in general. My last video was on my stop motion, which you guys have so far shown incredible support of, so I'm very thankful for that, and you guys have given me great constructive feedback and criticisms on my video, which, you know, I always appreciate because it always helps me make better videos. And in general, you guys have been really receptive, and thank you all for 300 subscribers. I'm also really happy about that, so yeah. Anyways, let's get on to the review without much further ado. This is on the Cobi EZ8 Sherman, the M4A3E8. And yeah, this kit is something, I got this kit yesterday, and well, no, actually the day before when I put it together yesterday. And yeah, this is a really cool kit. So this is set number 2533, and it comes with 745 pieces, 3 minifigures, and it retails for 50 bucks, or at least that's how much I paid for it. Might be different depending what website you go to. So yeah, a little bit of brief history on this tank. This is a Sherman variant. This is, of course, a Sherman variant of the M4 Sherman, which is the most produced American tank of all time, and one of the most heavily produced tanks of World War II. And this is one of the many variants that were used for the Sherman in the war. This basically, the EZ8 Sherman featured a wider track. It featured a wider hull, basically, some wider tracks, slightly better armor, and an upgraded 76mm gun, which, you know, was definitely more effective than the other Sherman gun. And yeah, this tank was kind of made famous, or at least mainstream famous, because of the movie Fury, which came out in 2014. And in the, the movie was it's alright. I like the movie, although obviously massively historically inaccurate, but whatever, it's a good movie. And yeah, so, and it's clear to see that Cobi were inspired by the tank from Fury, because it's quite similar to the one from the movie. Obviously, this is not a replica tank of the one from the movie. There's differences, but you can definitely tell that they were inspired by just the general, like, very battered up look of this tank, which is, of course, a historical look. Many tanks in World War II ended up looking like this after they were in the field for a long time, but you can definitely tell that they were a little inspired, you know, especially with, like, the helmets hanging off from the turret from the movie. But anyways, first we're going to take a look at the minifigures and the accessories, and then we'll take a closer look at the tank. Alright, so onto the minifigures. First figure we have here is of a U.S. troop. It's a rifleman by the looks of it. Sorry for the poor lighting, but I hope you guys can see him. So yeah, you guys know I'm not a massive fan of these Cobi figures, but I will say, I've noticed some improvements. I think the printing on these figures is definitely getting better. For instance, the face printing is pretty damn good. I actually really like the expression he's got going on. He's kind of got a pissed off expression, as you obviously would have in a war. He's got the chin strap, and he's even got some, like, wrinkles in between his eyebrows, which kind of look like hair from certain angles. But yeah, really cool figure. Nice M1 steel pot helmet there. And nice printing on the torso. We got some rifle pouches. Not the most accurate color scheme. The U.S. uniforms in World War II were more like a tan, kind of like a dark tan color rather than this dark green. This is more like Vietnam era, but fair enough. Nice printing on the torso. The rifle pouches, they look pretty damn good. Comes with an M1 carbine, or carbine rifle, which is pretty good. Although I'm not really a massive fan of this grip. It kind of makes it look more like an M1A1 Thompson if you look at it from a distance, but it works. And yeah, articulation-wise, these figures have very similar articulation to Lego figures. The head can go side to side. The arms can swivel all the way around. He's got a swivel wrist. He's got a waist swivel, which is actually something that the Lego figures don't have. And the legs kick forward and back. So that's the first minifigure that comes with this, and it's a U.S. rifleman. Second minifigure is a U.S. medic, which is pretty cool. He's got the older style Cobi face, which I really don't like. It looks really goofy. But he's got a nice printed helmet, nice cross symbol, and nice symbols on the side of the helmet there. not really sure what this is. I'm not familiar with cards. So don't roast me in the comments. Is that... I'm not even going to try. Yeah, I think it's a spade, maybe? Ace of spades? I'm not sure. I don't know anything about playing cards, so don't kill me. Here's the torso, though. I think this is an older torso. You can tell because the details on it look a little bit different, but still nice. And he's got, of course, the red cross on his arm, and he comes with a briefcase, presumably filled with medical equipment, which is quite cool. And that's the medic. And the third figure, obviously, is a American tanker. There you go, zoomed in. Again, really nicely printed face. I really like it. Got a tank division patch on his arm, which is really a nice touch. And nicely printed torso with the M1911 holstered on his, well, holster there. Nothing on the back of none of these figures. But nice printing on the guy. And he comes with a M3 grease gun for his accessory, which makes sense, given he's a tanker. And yeah, that's pretty much it for all these minifigures. Another accessory that this set comes with is a little plaque, which is actually really cool. And so yeah, it's a plaque of the tank, M4A3E8, Sherman Easy 8. So really, really cool. This is something that Cobi would only normally include with their airplanes, and it seems like they're starting to include this with the ground vehicles, which is a nice touch. I like that. So yeah, it's just a little plaque you can put in front of the tank so people know what it is. And that's it, really. So those are all the minifigures and all the accessories. Now let's take a closer look at the tank itself. And here is the beast all by itself, the Easy 8 Sherman. Right off the bat, I gotta say, Cobi did an excellent job of the detailing of this tank. I mean, really, this is probably the most detailed Cobi kit I've ever bought. I'm really impressed with all the little details on it. So, if we take a look at the front of the tank, as you can see, we have a spare wheel on the front, which is really nice. I'll zoom in for you guys so you can take a closer look. So we have a spare wheel here at the front of the tank. We have a Hall machine gun, which can pivot up and down, which is pretty cool. There is a spare track here, and there's also, I believe the name of this is a bipod. I'm not really sure, but this is basically for transportation. So when the tank is moving, you set the gun on this so that the gun doesn't swivel everywhere. And that's exactly what you can do, so it's actually functional. It doesn't actually clip onto the gun, but you can rest the gun on top of this. And it makes it look like it's in transit, which is really nice. I like that. Although it's really fragile, it doesn't take much to pull it off. As you can see, the pins, or the studs rather, excuse me, the studs on this are cut up for some reason, which makes this piece not sit the sturdiest into the tank. So it actually kind of falls off really easily, which is a bit of a shame. It's a problem with the actual design of this piece, I think. But yeah. Also got headlights, which are glow in the dark, which is quite cool. So if you shine some light on them and then turn off the lights, they will obviously glow. That being said, they don't glow the nicest. Like, obviously, it's not going to be... It's not... I don't think they give the same effect of an actual headlight effect. You know, it's not super effective. But I guess, you know, for the idea, it's quite nice that they actually went ahead and did this. So, thumbs up for Cobi, I guess. And also here on the front, we have, for some reason, a wooden slab on the front of the tank. I don't really know why. Now, obviously, I know why they would put a lot... It was quite common that you see tanks with logs of wood attached to them. Now, there were two really main reasons. The first one is that if the tank, for example, needs to get over a trench or a ditch or something, they can deploy these logs of wood which help the tank cross the trench or the bridge or whatever it needs to cross. And second of all, they do provide some extra protection so they can cushion the blow of an artillery shell. Obviously, it's not going to stop an artillery shell, but it can cushion it. But I don't really know why there's just a slab of wood in the front of the tank. So, yeah, I guess they're supposed to represent like a log of wood. But, yeah, I mean, it looks nice, I guess. So, that's nice. Here's the side of the tank. As you can see, we have big old sets of logs, which is really cool. And they are technically wrapped together, which is quite nice. So, yeah, really nice. You can pull these out if you don't want them. I don't really know why you'd want to do that, though, because it leaves kind of a ugly hole at the side of the tank. But for whatever reason, you can pull these out if you don't want them there. Also a hammer on the side for repair purposes. And here's the back of the tank. We got some crates and containers, you know, full of equipment. We've got a sandbag up here. And there is the back. I'm going to try to show this because, of course, my camera, unfortunately, I still don't have a tripod, so I'm stacking this up on some CDs. But here's the engine, and what's really cool is you can see we have this grid detailing on top of the engine. And this is actually not a sticker. This set does not have a single sticker. Everything is printed on, which I love about Cobi. And in fact, I think it's something that Cobi does better than Lego. None of their sets have stickers. Well, some of them do. But they will only include stickers when it's absolutely necessary. Like, say, for example, an airplane, you need to attach an insignia over a wing. Then they'll include a sticker because that overlaps multiple bricks. But every time they can do printed, they do printed. And I think that's a massive bonus because it always looks better when it's printed. So there's the engine hatch, and of course, it does open, revealing, if the camera wants to focus on it, a nice engine on there. It's kind of dark, you can't really see it, but this is of course printed on there. Just a nice mixture of dark gray and black pieces in there, which is really cool. And there's the back of the tank, some more of this grid detailing. And sort of, I guess this is supposed to represent the exhausts of the tank. Nothing on the bottom, it's just like some plates, as you can see, but yeah, really nice detail there with the exhaust of the back. Here's the side of the tank, basically more of what was on the other side, except it doesn't have a hammer. I guess you can put something else in there, like a shovel or something, if you wanted to. Here are the tracks, which are massively detailed. Love the way they look. Unfortunately, though, this tank doesn't roll the best. Cobi tanks normally roll great. This one doesn't roll super well. Now, because of course, we're filming this on top of a bed, it does roll a little bit easier. But I have to push in quite hard for it to roll. But on a smooth surface, this does not roll. It just kind of goes like this. It just kind of glides along, which is a bit of a problem. It's kind of a shame that these tracks don't turn super nicely. I do like when they turn, they make a kind of a clicking sound. It's pretty satisfactory, but they don't really turn super well in comparison to the other ones. So that's one minor complaint I have. Nothing absurd, but I just thought I'd point it out. And the turret. Here is the turret, which is massively detailed. So on each side, first of all, we got a star printed on, which is nice. Each side we have a sandbag, and we also have helmets hanging from the tank, which is really cool. So we got they're custom, they're sculpted netting on them, which is really nice. And we got this kind of wiring, which is what holds the helmets together. On top of the tank, we have a antenna, which is made out of rubber, so it's not going to break on you, so don't worry about that. And we have a machine gun on top, which is, I only can presume it's a Browning M1919, and it just kind of comes off easy, but doesn't look that much like one, but it gets the idea of cross. It can turn all the way around, it can move up and down. This piece here on the front of the tank is actually custom made for this set, which is quite cool. A little coax machine gun there. And there's the barrel of the gun, really large gun. And of course the tank can turn all the way around and it can point up and down. It can elevate quite a fair bit. In fact, I don't even think the real tank could elevate this high. And it can also depress, which is quite cool. Also on the back we have this 50 cal machine gun, which is interesting because actually in the instructions they tell you to put the machine gun like this. There's a little hole here where you can put the machine gun here. But I don't really know why you would do that because it actually it makes opening the hatch here a lot harder. And normally these machine guns would be at the back of the turrets of the tank. So I don't really know why they went ahead and did that. I guess it's really so you can set it up whatever way you prefer. But yeah, keep in mind that this little piece here on the back does actually come with the set. So I guess they did that so you can just kind of customize it if you want, which is a neat touch. And I decided to leave it like this just to leave some extra room for the driver, and spare track on the front has just come off. Let me see if I can fix that. No? Alright, now I can. Cool. And then, of course, okay, I can't fix that. I'll just leave that to one side. And then, of course, the hatch is on the top. This one here is just for show, but this one actually works. You can open it up, and you can put, obviously, a guy on top. So you can have him sitting down there. And it works. I mean, actually, technically, I think you're supposed to have him standing up, but it looks a little... So you can either stand him up or have him sit down. I actually like him standing up better because I think he looks better. That's what he looks. Now, there's also two hatches on the front of the tank, which I didn't mention, and they technically work, but not super well. You can open them, like so, and you can put a figure in. However, you cannot have two figures in them at the same time, because when you put a figure inside, you actually have to rotate the turret, and it ends up blocking the other hatch. So you cannot put a second figure in, which is a bit of a shame, but I do like the fact that they went ahead and still put in these extra hatches on the tank. Definitely adds in some neat little detail, which is quite cool. So yeah, that's about it for this tank. Now, another thing that I have to really compliment Cobi on is the fact that the size of their models is getting a lot better. First of all, proportionally, this looks fantastic. It looks just like the EZ8 Sherman, and that's great. But also, not only that, size-wise, you know, this is, well, first of all, actually, going back, oh my god, sorry, proportionally, this tank is great. Proportionally, this is their best-looking Sherman yet. Their original Shermans, if you saw pictures of them, the first ones they did, they always looked off. Usually the hulls were huge, the turrets were tiny, the tracks were really quite, like, a little too high up, and they didn't really look right. But now they have really improved on the models. I mean, this is really looks exactly like the EZ8 did, which is great. Second of all, scales-wise, this is actually one of their better models. You know that I have a bit of a nitpick with Cobi, is that their models are usually always too big. And this is especially apparent if you own some of their earlier tanks. You can see just how gigantic they are. But it seems like they're starting to actually do things more accurately. Now, this is still a little too... This tank, I think, is a little wide, as you can see. It should be, I think, 2 studs thinner than this. But actual height-wise, this is perfect. I mean, this is basically the actual height of the real tank, which is great. So I really like how Cobi is actually starting to do more realistically scaled, and this just fell out, but more realistically scaled tanks, which is always a bonus, which I think is really, really cool. So massive thumbs up to Cobi for that. Yeah, that's, you know, that's great. So that's pretty much all there is to it. I will show you guys the instructions of the tank really quick. The instructions are always, you know, big thumbs up. First of all, one massive thing I love about Cobi is that they always give out these, they always have these little sort of statistics of the model that you're building, which is really, really cool, which I think is awesome. And the actual instructions, great step-by-step. One thing I love about Cobi is that they color in what bricks you are actually using, making it really easy to understand where you are, and they also highlight where you're supposed to attach each piece, and it's quite nice. Here's some other models at the back of this. So that's pretty much all there is to it. We're going to get to the size comparison and then the final conclusion. So, yeah. Alright, size comparison time. So, here is the EZ8 next to 2 Cobi tanks. We have the 7TP, which is a Polish dual-turreted light tank. And here is, if I could just bring it over, the Ferdinand. Excuse the Lego figure on the 7TP. As you can see, the M4 is a nice in-between. However, you will notice what I was talking about with the size earlier. First of all, the 7TP is a little too wide. It should be about 2 studs thinner. And this thing should be about 4 studs thinner. Well, maybe not, but it's very, very huge. But as you can see, the M4 sits at about a nice in-between. In reality, this should be about the same height as this. It's a lot taller. And in a profile view, we could see that the Ferdinand is significantly, well, yeah, it's longer than the M4. As for the 7TP, it is shorter. Oh, excuse me. The 7TP is shorter. And in case you're wondering how this scales up next to Brickmania tanks, here it is next to 2 decently large Brickmania kits. Here it is next to the ISU I believe this is the ISU 152 or something like that. As you can see, they're about the same width, which is pretty cool. However, and they're actually about the same length too, so they're actually a pretty decent size. Of course, the Sherman is slightly taller. And here it is next to the the Sharpie one. As you can see, they're about the same length as well. And actually, well, this one's slightly wider, but yeah, figured that'd be a good scale for all you Lego fans, just to see really how this scales up next to some Lego brick tanks. So that is about it for the size comparison. As you can see, this thing is pretty darn large. Well, yeah, but I think it's decently sized as well. I believe it's realistic size, you know. So, yeah, now let's go on to the final thoughts. Alright, so the final thoughts on this tank. I think that this is probably one of their greatest models yet. This is definitely, actually, in fact, one of their best tanks. The detail on this is spot on. The proportions are great. Size is pretty damn good. A bit of a gray area because it's still a little too big, but in comparison to what the size of other Cobi tanks like we've seen in the comparison, this is great. You know, they're really getting the size accurate now for their tanks. But also, it's just a really nice model. One thing I did not mention actually on the overview is that it is a little on the more fragile side. Now granted, Cobi kits are always extremely sturdy, and this is the case. This is very sturdy. Like, it's not falling apart on me, but because this has a bunch of extra things hanging off, like the logs of wood on the side and all these things on the back and the dirt, it is a little bit more on the fragile side. So I wouldn't recommend picking it up through the logs, for example, because as you can see, they just can easily come off. I'd recommend picking it up like this through the bottom or something. So keep that in mind. It is a little bit more fragile because of all the extra things hanging off of it. It's nothing frustrating about this at all. Building this back section is a little frustrating, but just pay attention and you'll do better, because I didn't, because I wasn't I wasn't really paying that much attention when I put it together, but fair enough. Yeah, in general though, this is great. In fact, I think this is also a great replacement for the Brickmania EZ8, which is something that I wanted to pick up a long time ago, but I never did because obviously Brickmania is very expensive. It was like $250, so I was like, yeah, that's way too much for me. And I saw when Cobi released this, I was like, all right, I'll pick this one up instead, because I think that this is a fantastic, like good way to replace it, because, well, it's $50 and you're getting a hell of a lot more detail, and it's just as accurate as the Brickmania one in my opinion. So even if for Lego collectors this is still great, and it's a nice model. So I mean, I highly recommend this for Cobi collectors, for Lego collectors, for whatever. If you like, or generally if you just want a model of a tank of the EZ8 or something like that, then this is a great model to pick up. I really highly recommend this. It's got all the detail, a lot of functionality to it. It looks great. It's proportionally quite accurate to the real tank. Not really much to complain about. I mean, my biggest complaints really are the tracks don't roll super well, and the model's a little on the fragile side at some parts. But besides that, I think it's a great model. And really, Cobi's really been knocking out of the park. Their tanks are just improving, which is awesome. So yeah, I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. It certainly has been a while since I've made any reviews on this channel, and I'm not really going to beat around the bush here. The reason is simple. 2020 was a terrible year, as we all know. It was a really, really, really bad year for everybody, and I just didn't really, for all the stress that happened in, well, personal life and all that, I really just didn't feel motivated to make videos. So all I did, obviously, this year, really, video-wise, was upload the stop motion, and that was about it, It was just a year full of uncertainty and just anxiety, and I was also really just, I obviously don't want to sound like I'm making up excuses here, but really that's kind of the main reason I didn't post anything, is just because, well, it was a shit year. I'm going to try to get back and make a few reviews here and there, and not just some other, not just reviews, but I'll see if I can do some other Lego stuff. I'm not sure. It's kind of hard. I mean, semester's ending now, so that's cool. And I guess I could go back to making videos. But yeah, I have been uploading videos on my other YouTube channel, however, but it's a totally different channel. It's the stuff I upload here. It's a music channel and all that. So it's not like I'm being completely inactive from YouTube, but yeah, I do agree. And if you guys got upset over me not uploading, I could totally understand that. But for now, I am back, and I do hope you guys liked this video. Yeah, this model gets I'll give this model 2 thumbs up. It's a really, really good model. Highly recommended. So, yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.